Hey guys, Sean Zinn, the Connection Machine, aka the Insurance Doctor, and we're with Xander. He's co-hosting today. We want to bring in some phenomenal people that you should have in your back pocket. I want to bring on my guests, good friends of mine. Let me see if this thing works properly. Let's go here and go here. Boom. Oh, technical difficulties. Here we go. No, this is fantastic. I appreciate all of you, tuning in. We have a treat. We have a few good people that I've known for many, many years, and I want to bring more value consistently, teaching my son how to provide value, not just sell, 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 actually sit there and build relationships. So I want to do a little round robin before we even get rocking and rolling. Let's have Mike introduce himself, and then we'll have Chris, and then we'll get into our show.
Mike, you're on, buddy.
Excellent. Sorry, my internet dropped for a second. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Mortgage Mike Carvajal. I am a mortgage planner with Equity Prime Mortgage. Been doing mortgage planning 22 years, helping folks with their residential financing needs, refinancing, purchases, and I help senior citizens with reverse mortgages as well.
Thanks for being with us, Mike and Chris.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Chris Whalen, CPA. I just run a full-service CPA firm here in New Jersey, but of course, servicing the entire country. And I just to boost Mike a little bit, mortgage planning is so significant with regard to your tax and financial planning. People think of it as an afterthought. People think of it like a commodity. We can just go get a gallon of gas. We can get a mortgage. So please make sure you have a mortgage person like Mike in your back pocket, ready to work with me, because you never know when the need to buy a home, refinance a home, buy an investment property. Especially, we're going to be touching on some self-employed issues today, especially if you're not just a W-2 person. You definitely want to have someone like Mike at the ready to help us.
I appreciate you guys tuning in. We have some great value we're going to drop. And reminder, I am the Insurance Doctor. Would love to take a look at anything that you guys have as far as your home. Nobody reviews their home. They always close. They just move on. And they don't ever review that. They always check the auto insurance. So definitely, we're going to go into some flood later on. But check and review your homeowners once every couple of years just to confirm coverages and make sure you have a fair premium. So now it touches on, we have a mortgage professional. We have a CPA. What is the importance in your mind that working and collaborating together, Mike, with Chris, how is it important? How can it help those that are watching them?
It's a great question. Sean, it is imperative for folks to be working, especially self-employed people, to be working with a CPA that knows what they're doing, like Chris Whalen. Chris Whalen's been in the game a long time. He's tried, tested, and true. Chris and I work together helping clients to establish a budget, to establish what their needs are going to be. It kind of starts with me. What housing payment do you want? We can qualify you for a $5,000 mortgage payment, but if it's going to bury you, then you shouldn't be looking for a $5,000 mortgage payment house, right? Chris touched on it briefly. People go to their doctor, their lawyer, their CPA, who they trust. And for the last decade, some of these other online outfits have been trying to sell you on just click an app. And, Zillow's one, just click an app. You don't need a realtor. You don't need a mortgage advocate. And, look at some of these bigger outfits. They've been not doing well. You can see the earnings coming in because it just doesn't work. You need someone with a brain, someone with capacity to lead, to be an advocate. And that's what Chris and I, do. That's the part of working together with a mortgage planner, with a CPA. Let's face it, this is the biggest debt that you have. It's bigger than your car. I don't care if you drive a Range Rover. It's bigger than your car. It's bigger than most things that you have. In fact, anything that you have. It's better to plan ahead. So that's why we're here this morning or this afternoon to tell people and to help educate and empower folks in our community.
If I could just expand on that a little bit. People who deal with me a long time know that I want to deal directly with another professional. Like if Mike or Sean has someone looking for me, I answer the phone. So the new thing I'm working on goes to what Mike was saying, that we want to affirm the humanity and we want to ignore the AI. So that's part of my sales system here. And so Mike's exactly right. We need a live person on the phone who genuinely cares about our best interest and is an expert and knows our situation, who wants to help us. So I will only deal with professionals who I have their cell number and who my clients can call directly when they're at need. So that's very important for everyone to realize that there's no automated system, there's no chat GPT, no AI that can substitute for someone like Mike or Sean or myself. So if you have an organization that's looking to push you in that direction, really push back on it, because we need human interaction at the core level, at the visceral level every day, or else you're not going to get the best service possible.
And like you guys were saying, you have to tell people what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. And a lot of times, like Mike was saying, you might qualify for a $500,000 property. Do you want to have that kind of payment? That's the decisions you got to have with you and your spouse to figure out if that's the case. And like Chris was saying, building relationships is key to making sure that we are growing, we are building, we are looking out for our clients. Because I learned this from Mike years ago. It's not referrals, it's recommendations. Our whole reputation is on the line when we give somebody, hey, call this person, call that person, because it's very important that those that do business that way, they're doing business that way because they're going to do it for a long time. And don't be afraid. Oh, I can't give out one name. That's against the law. No, you can give out one name. You know who you're going to be working with because you're building professionals. That's the whole goal of what we're doing. And I want to go into more detail as far as self-employed people out there. If you're a self-employed, you have a small business you opened up. I know this thing's talking about PPP loans and how it's difficult to qualify for loans today. Mike, can you speak on that front?
Absolutely, Sean. Yeah, this is a huge thing, guys. And Chris and I have been working on this with clients. So in 2020 and 2021, anybody know that COVID hit, right? Kind of a big deal. Pandemic, businesses were shut down. If you were a bar owner, a restaurant owner, I don't care if you were a landscaper, it affected you. And what happened was the government and their ability to try to help the country allocated PPP loans, which were loans that were given to self-employed folks to basically keep them afloat. And the problem with those loans was banks would not use those for qualifying purposes because technically it was temporary income, much like a short-term disability. If you broke your leg working at Acme and you were on short-term disability, but you were going to go back to work, but you hadn't been back to work yet, that's like a limbo land where the banks they can't wrap their heads around it. Unfortunately, they wouldn't lend on that. So one program that not every bank knows about that I specialize in, and again, that Chris and I work together in, is if you're self-employed for 5 years, okay, if you can prove self-employment for 5 years, business license, something else to prove you've been in self-employed business, you only need 1 year tax return. Why is that huge? Because 2022, for many of us, thank God, was a rebuilding year. The world opened up. How many of us took vacations? How many of us went out to eat? What a pleasure it was to go have a bourbon at the bar because you could, right? So that being said, many self-employed people who thought they couldn't qualify because of these PPP loans and they just weren't claiming enough income because times were tough, they need to be coached. Because if they're not working with a CPA that understands these rules, that CPA may just which is their job to save them in taxable consequences, and we respect that. But if it puts you out of a position to obtain a mortgage and obtain a $10,000 annual tax deduction from your taxes and your mortgage interest that you pay every year, and Chris, you can back me up on that, for a primary residence, what are they doing? So that's some of the stuff that we work with. If you're self-employed 5 years, you need 1 year tax returns. So in 2020, you didn't claim much. 2021, you didn't claim much. You haven't filed your 2022 returns, get in front of your CPA, get in front of your mortgage person, either Mike or Chris or someone like us. Let us work with you. Plan the budget. You may have to pay a little more in taxes for this year, but if it means that you can get into a house for your family and stop renting, which I can promise you, rent is not going down. I've never seen rent go down. Never, ever, ever, ever. Rent's always
any self-employed person It really is. We need to, at least, it used to be 2 years, right? We used to need
Yes,
to plan well ahead that we're going to average 2 years earned income and could you get approved? So now with this, with the program Mike's discussing, it could be 1 year, but still now's the time to plan for homes we want to buy in 2024. So we want to make sure
absolutely.
that you're going to meet your income levels that you need and things like that. So even if you haven't done your 22 yet, as you said, there's still opportunities, but any self-employed person, there's a lot of dogma and there's a lot of misinformation about out there about what you can be approved for. A lot of self-employed people think it's almost impossible sometimes, and it's completely wrong. So any self-employed person, you want to have someone like Mike at the ready or me at the ready, to give us a call to let you know what are the mortgage options out there and how do we get a strategy together to be approved in one of them. So again, it's planning. If you want a house now, it's good planning, but especially even if you don't have a plan to buy a house, you need to have the CPA ready, the mortgage person ready, so we can be part of your strategy going forward and you can reference us as we go. So when your family finds that forever home, you simply need to talk to Mike. We have a pre-approval already, and we just have to go close with the money that Mike got for us. Right, Mike?
Absolutely. And in this market, you need to have your stuff together. You need to have your tax returns prepared, if not filed, at least prepared. Figure out, are you going to have a taxable consequence that you're going to need to come up with? Chris and I have clients that they might have to pay Uncle Sam 10 grand because they didn't, budget properly, unfortunately. Now they're going to owe at the end of the year. Normally they wouldn't do that, right? They would just write it off. That's one of the attributes of being self-employed, except for when you're trying to qualify for a loan. And that's where Chris and Mike come in. It's huge and it's important. And the reason we're out here, folks, today is to shout from the rooftops. AI is not okay. Okay. The app is not okay. It doesn't care about you. It doesn't think. It doesn't have a family. It hasn't been through life experiences like I have, like Chris has, like Sean has. These are the things that we've gone through. And because of that, we're stronger. All of us have been in this industry for 2 decades. Every person on this call. There's no noobs here, y'all. So again,
Plus, the other thing about AI that's a problem is, every client is different, right? So everyone that we talk to, like I could deal with 50 plumbers, and they're all very different people. So their MO is different. Their worries are different, and so the AI doesn't have the ability to be empathetic and properly sell you the right way and treat you the right way. I mean, those are all are subtle physical human cues that we pick up on, and an AI can't do that. So the personal experience, of course, it goes beyond getting the mortgage or getting your taxes done. You unless someone can know you and understand you, they cannot know how to properly service you, which an AI will never be able to do 100%. So especially if you're dealing with companies. I have staff, but clients will always deal with me directly. That's also very important. So you want to deal with, like, if you want to, like Mike has staff, Sean, me too, but you're able to get to us a lot of the time and we're directing everything. You want to make sure you have that. You want to make sure that there aren't too many layers of phone calls. Hold on for Mr. Whalen. Hold on for the second floor. Hold on for Mr. Whalen's section. Hold on for Mr. Whalen. By that time, you're exhausted. So
sure.
we want to make sure you deserve to get the owner of a company you're dealing with. And if you can't do that, the company that you're dealing with is too big.
100%. Where are your quarterbacks, guys?
Hey, Mike, can you go into, I know the loan, you have 1 year tax returns, and a lot of people have the misconception of the difference between a pre-qualification and a pre-approval. I know we've talked about it, but it's like something we got to continue educating because people just don't get it. They get a piece of paper from the AI loan officer that's on the online.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm qualified for this number. But in reality, oh, I have to prove this. I have to prove that. What's involved with a pre-approval?
Very simple. Pre-approval is just that. You have been pre-approved. You took a loan application. You had your credit pulled. You had your income documents verified. You had your assets verified. We ran Desktop Underwriter. It's a system that every single person in America, if you're going for a conventional or even a government-based loan, a government-backed loan, you have to get an approved eligible underwriting finding on. The pre-quals, really, you're not even going to get a house with a pre-qual right now because the market's so nuts. And the realtors have 20 offers on most of these properties. We saw a little bit of a dip over Christmas time. And I thought it was a little bit of a buyer's bubble. Fortunately, guys, today's the first day of spring. Spring has sprung, and it's a seller's market again. And, people are still buying homes, even though the government continues to raise interest rates without a pre-approval letter. Forget about the education, the advocacy, and knowing, again, if you're self-employed, whether you have to speak with Chris and determine how are you going to come up with these funds that you need, or how are you not going to be able to get that tax refund that you may have last year. But even getting the deal, because a pre-qualification from an online outfit out of Walla Walla, Washington in New Jersey is not going to get you the house. It's just not. It's a shame, but it's the reality. And quite frankly, it's how it should be. If you're not educated properly about what you're doing, you could put yourself in financial disaster. Many divorces happen in America today, unfortunately, due to financial burden. And that's not cool. When I took this job 22 years ago, I told myself that I would help provide stable housing for people in America. I grew up with a single mom. We rented a lot. It was an amazing feeling going from house to house. And, I'm sitting here in my own home office, and it's a really, really good feeling. And I know my kids feel good about that. That's the kind of stuff that Chris, Sean, Mike, that's why we're here, to provide stable housing for families in America.
And Chris, for those that are watching, I'm a small business owner. I know a little bit about numbers. I like doing my taxes myself. Why should I do it myself or why do I think I can do it myself versus coming to work with Chris Whalen? What are some things
the answer always is, I ask, well, what do you do for a living? Someone might say they're a dental hygienist. I say, okay, so I'm going to come to work and bring Turbo, the dental hygienist software, with me. I'm going to send you home and I'm going to service all your clients. How's that going to go? So people have the misunderstanding that it's a very simple thing to do. And I mean, like, I could try to change my own oil, for example. So
sure.
you want to have the years experience of someone for your situation. Plus the added value is being here for them all year for questions. So so let's say you do your own taxes on TurboTax, but something happens at work, or a mortgage, or stock options, or, like I said, some kind of loan or mortgage, some issue comes up. So you really want to have someone like me on the payroll, and if you will, to help you with things like that. But again, it's the most important financial document you sign all year, mostly. And so I would think you should get a professional to help you with it. It's done under penalties of perjury, and yet you're doing it yourself. That sounds a little odd, but again, it's a matter of, a lot of people do their own taxes because they never met the right person yet.
Sure.
It's a crisis of confidence. So I urge people to call me. I'd love to earn your business and show you what we do and try to show you what the value is. Yeah, but I think the major thing is people think of it like a commodity. So they think of it like a gallon of milk. So they say, I could go to the laundromat and get it done for $200. But again, it's not a gallon of milk, and it does matter who does your taxes. So if you've been on the fence, either for insurance, if you're dealing with a large company or mortgage, or dealing with a TurboTax, which is one of the biggest tax corporations in the world. Well, again, that's all it is an AI. So you're dealing with an AI in front of you with if-then statements and questions, and they don't know everything to ask. So if again, it's not offensive to tell you shouldn't do your own taxes, but logically speaking, you need to have a professional take care of this most important financial transaction you do every year.
Agreed. And it's 100% accuracy in what you're saying, Chris.
I'd like to add, I'm the last piece of the puzzle. I'm the end of the transaction, but I'm a very important piece as far as making sure your property is insured. So the homeowner's policy, a lot of people making sure you have at least 500,000 liabilities key. But for the flood insurance, a lot of people in the past, if you had an FHA loan, you had to go FEMA. And that was a more expensive type of flood policy that was out there versus going private flood. And a lot of people were like, why is it so much of a difference? Because you have different companies. You're not the government. You're different companies taking care of the risk. So a lot of people now have to understand, I'm getting the word out. We're talking with Mike's clients and Chris's clients. If you have And if correct me if I'm wrong, if you're FHA, you can do the streamline still, right, Mike?
Yes, sir. I'm 100%. So you can save them even more money and probably give them the same, if not better, coverage because
So
of
definitely
capitalism and
reviewing.
privatization.
Right. Reviewing your FHA, seeing if you have a FEMA policy. Let's compare apples to apples to a private flood insurance policy. We can save you money there. You probably can do a rate and term, maybe, put you in a better situation. But having that ability to have both is an important thing. Some shops, that's all they have is FEMA. So some people, I didn't even know this private flood out there. It's out there, it's ready. And now they open the gates as far as allowing those on FHA to have the ability to go that route. So something to keep in mind for those that are watching. If you guys are watching and you have questions for us as we're going still in our conversation, drop it in the comments. We would love to, get back to you at our leisure and get those answers for those questions you have. We're coming to the end, Mike and Chris. Is there any final thoughts you can give those that are watching today?
Let me go first. Everyone should remember that partnerships and S corporations were due March 15th. That was changed several years ago. A lot of people don't know that. So if you didn't get an extension done or don't have the work done yet, remember that C corps are now due April 15th. And it's always good if you need extensions individually to get in contact with me soon enough. I'm at a point now where I'm telling people I will have to put you on extension if you give me everything now, because we need several weeks just to do extensions that are in house already. You want to make sure, especially if you do your own taxes with a business, a lot of the mistakes that are made is that you don't have the proper number of expense categories. You're lumping things together where they shouldn't be. You're throwing a lot of things into other expenses. So these all can be flags that can get your return looked at. So that's one of the most important things is to hire the right person or get educated as to what expenses you can take. Make sure you take your home office deduction. A lot of people ignore that because they're afraid, and it does not cause an audit. And just know that we're all here in case you have any questions within our respective disciplines to answer any and all questions. Even if you're not my client, I always take the call to try to help someone out.
That's great stuff, Chris. On my side, my thing is positivity. MSNBC, all of the news outlets tell you the housing market's blowing up. It's a bad time to buy. They've been doing this for 20 years. The housing market's up 200% in the last 20 years, by the way. So they were wrong. They're always going to be wrong. They sell on fear, right? Why is the nightly news full of death, destruction, and famine? Because they're trying to sell you guys.
Can I make one more comment?
Yeah,
Very
please.
important thing about investing. I like the stock market a little bit in bonds. I know that's an important universe of investing, but we really want to look at diversifying into real property and buying investment properties. We do a lot of work here with that. And Monmouth and Ocean County is not the place to buy. So there's plenty of great deals within 50 miles of the Jersey border, eastern Pennsylvania, southern upstate New York. There's such great opportunities. So the market's volatile. You never know what's going to happen. So I urge people to divest some of their assets out of the market and put it into real property that will eventually be a pension replacement. That's what's good about rental properties. So let's say I have 5 rental properties when I'm 65, each putting off $1,000 a month net, which is easy to do. $6,000 a month net. That's a nice little pension number to replace a pension, which we don't have anymore.
Sure.
But so in the market, if I want to get that kind of money out, I need to sell something. I have Google stock. I need to sell it to get the cash flow and pay tax. So that's a good thing about the real estate market investment. And the investment side is 2 things. One, I don't care if it goes up in value. I know we've gone up 200%, but I don't care about that. Imagine buying real estate without a care. And then I'm also getting cash flow without having to divest the asset. So just part of your planning should be that. And there's, of course, there's insurance concerns for landlords, which Sean can help you with. And there's loans that Mike can help you with for dealing with investment properties. But I'll leave you with you have no control over your stock market investments. You have no control. You can't hold them. You can't touch them. You can't impact the value of them. We don't even know why they're valued how they are. The real estate area is much different. It's positive, and there's the advantages are high compared. So I could have a condominium that's one of 50 in the neighborhood. I can make mine better. I know what the value is because I have comparables. So not that the stock market's not good, but I like to try to always take a minute to dispel this fear. People have this fear of the investment real estate market, as even real estate agents. I do a lot of seminars. I ask them, half the room will say the stock market is safer than investment property. So get educated about it, find out the benefits of it. Don't be afraid of it. And all of us can help you to get into that realm pretty easily within our disciplines.
Absolutely.
I would like to. I like to end on, as Chris was saying, doing the webinars or in-person educational meetups, presentations for if you're a broker, if you want us to come in and discuss loans and taxes and insurance, definitely give us reach out to any one of us and we'll schedule that in person. It could be a Zoom. We're all about providing value on a consistent basis because education is missing and the right education needs to be out there. So we will put ourselves out there free of charge. You just set up some nice drinks. You help us market it, and we'll make sure we bring the lots of value and for your teams, for your brokerage, what have you. We want to make sure that's there. Education is all about. In 2023, you need to be educated. So that's why we're doing this.
Everyone that knows me, I do a lot of seminars for real estate agents, brokers, law firms, but especially real estate brokers. Right now, we have a problem. We still have some problem with slowing sales in the forever home market. We know that. And so that hurts the agent, it hurts the broker. So what a lot of your staff, if you look at your real estate, the average realtor who sends out blast emails, you never see one that relates to investment properties. It's always, here's a listing, here's a listing. So to brokers out there, you need to bring us in. We do a tremendous investability analysis seminar that's going to dispel the fears that they have, and it's going to teach them the psychological mindset of the investment buyer compared to the forever home buyer. And so I'm looking to increase your top line because I want you to be the broker on the street who is purposely pushing investment properties. There's a whole world of profit that Monmouth and Ocean County, especially realtors and brokers, are not working with. So that's something. Give us a call, get in touch with us. We'd love to bring that value. Like Sean said, I am looking to give a seminar that's going to make you money. I don't just come in and say, here's the tax code. You're in the 22% bracket. Have a good day. So that's what we're doing. We're looking to bring our business acumen to the fore to help you and your staff understand the market, understand people, understand how you should be selling, how things work, so they could be more effective for you.
110%.
Well,
here's an example. Company that served billions and billions of people. McDonald's. They made all their money on real estate, everybody. It wasn't hamburgers and milkshakes.
Exactly.
You can like McDonald's or not. It's it's probably not the best food for you. That's what I grew up on as a kid in the 80s. But that's what they did. And they're still doing that today. So, again, Chris hit the nail on the head, investment diversification. But you need to know what you're doing. That's what we are here to do. Advocacy, planning, empowerment. That's why we're here on the call today.
Awesome, guys. We show everyone that's watching and everyone on the replay, don't forget to hit the share button. Share. We want to help as much as possible. Guys, thanks so much for being with us today. And I hope everyone has an awesome rest of their day.
Thank you, guys.
Take care.